All right, we are in our 5-day kvCORE challenge. Today is day 2, which is probably one of my favorite days in this challenge, just because we're talking about those unengaged leads that you have in your database. So day 1, we talked about like, how can I increase the number of prospects or leads in my kvCORE? So I dropped all types of different nuggets and ways that you can get those in there. But today, how do I make sure that those people are getting engaged? So when you go into kvCORE and you go over here to business analytics, a lot of people don't play around in this area. Maybe it's because I'm kind of a dork, but I like this. So you go to business analytics, and this is going to be your entire pipeline. So if I'm looking at my kvCORE, I see that I have 20,000 leads in my database. I told you, I put everybody in there. I don't care if like I haven't spoke to this person in 5 years. If I have their information, they're going in my kvCORE. Now, of those people, most of them are in that sphere and prospect phase, which means either they're a sphere and they've never been active on my website. They're a prospect, which means they may have been active one time. But my goal is to get more people out of this area and into this new lead, active lead, and client. Now, I don't know about you, but 752 clients, that's a lot of people to stay in contact with, right? However, not all of them are engaged. So this is just your pipeline. Moving people to client, under contract, and closed are things that you do in kvCORE. kvCORE will move them from sphere, prospect, new lead, and active lead based on what they're doing inside of the website. So where we're going to look for unengaged leads is right here in kvCORE activity. So right here is where I have my lead nurture automation. So anything that I'm doing to nurture my clients, that would be search alerts. Okay. That means that they have a property search alert set up on their system. Of the 20,000, I have 6,800. And that green arrow means that in the last 90 days, I have increased that number. That's a good thing. Behavior alerts are those automations. I don't know if it's in the 5-day challenge or not, but kvCORE has I think it's like 8 or 9 behavior automations that are set up. If someone gets on your site, if they favorite a property, if they, or not favorite, if they save it, if they look at the same house, I think it's like 3 times, if they're back to back, kvCORE will send them a text and an email to engage. Here's the problem with those. It sounds like a computer. Unless you talk like a computer, it probably doesn't sound like you. And so what I always tell people is go into those behavior automations and edit them to where it sounds more like you. Okay. It's no different than like when I taught and I told kids, I should be able to hear your voice in your writing. If I don't hear your voice, then anyone could have written this. Smart campaigns. Now notice I only have 286 people on smart campaigns. And the reason why is because smart campaigns are great to establish a relationship. But once a relationship is established, turn the campaigns off and just add tasks for you to make sure that you're staying in front of them. Okay. Because let's say that I'm working with a buyer nurture. Okay. I go to an open house. I meet a buyer. They tell me that it's going to be 9 months before they're ready to buy. Okay. Now that can kind of be hard. Okay. Because one, I'm going to go ahead and put them in my kvCORE. I'm going to add a note that says they're 9 months out. I'm going to set them up on a property alert. So that way they're getting emails every week of properties that are on the market currently that are around them. But then what would I send them on a campaign? What if I say something like, hey, like, let's say I have a buyer nurture campaign, because there are some defaults in kvCORE. Don't even get me started on the default ones. Okay. They need to be switched up. Again, it sounds like a computer. But what if I said something like, have you spoke with a lender? Here is the contact for my lender. And that specific buyer is a cash buyer. Now it's not really personalized to them. So I always tell people it is fine to create a campaign that is to establish a relationship. But once they already like you, take them off the campaign and just add task reminders just to reach back out to them. So that's the reason why my number is so low. This is the lead engagement. Okay. So in the last 90 days, I have not called anyone. That's a lie. I don't call people through my kvCORE. I call them on my personal phone number just because I want them to have my personal number. Text messages. I've sent out 2,200 text messages in the last 90 days. I've sent out 14,000 emails. I have sent out 75 property views in the last 90 days. And all of those numbers are less. Now, I will tell you, in the last 90 days, we were on summer vacation, and I have an 8-year-old who is on the autism spectrum. So me doing work when he's not in school is really hard. Okay. Lead response rate is not up and working yet in kvCORE. I've been seeing this coming soon for a while. And I'm like, look, on the MLS, you can only be in coming soon status for 30 days. So I'm going to need you to go ahead and like get this ball rolling for me. But this is the unengaged leads. So right now I see that of the 20,000 people that are in my database, 18,000 of them do not have a search alert. They don't have a property alert. There are 20,000 who do not have a market report. There are 18,000 people who have no active campaigns. And there are 1,600 people who have unsubscribed. Okay. Now, I know that looks bad. Know that my kvCORE is mostly all agents. So obviously I'm not going to create a search alert for a real estate agent. They can do that themselves. But these arrows are all clickable. When you click these arrows, it's going to take you to a saved filter of all of these people. So let's go ahead and go to no search alerts. Okay. So I click this arrow. It's going to take me to all the people who currently do not have a search alert on their profile. When I go to the very first person, okay, so obviously this guy's name is Justice. Okay. He's at the CE shop right now and he's working on getting his real estate license. Clearly, I do not need to send him a property alert, but let's say that I did. I'm going to go ahead and click his name. I see that I have his phone number. I'm going to call him. And I'm just going to reintroduce myself. Hey, guy, hey, Justice, it's Jackie Durbin. How are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing great. Awesome. And you can, okay, if you don't have an assistant, you can borrow my fake one. Okay. His name is Hudson. Okay. Hudson, my personal assistant, left me your name on my desk that I should call and contact you today. So I just wanted to call and check up. How are things going? Now, in the workbook, I talk about the Ford method. For every single letter stands for a different thing. Okay, so it's an acronym. Ford is family. How is the family doing? And then what are they going to do? Then they're going to ask you about your family. So now I'm having a conversation with these people. Ask about their job, especially if these are sphere of influence people. Okay. So let's say that you are newly licensed, or maybe you were part-time and now you're full-time, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Ask them about their job. How's work going? Because then they're going to ask you about your job. And now I get to talk about the market. Now I get to talk about a success story. This is where a lot of people, they fumble the ball on like the 10-yard line. Okay. Talk about a success story. Okay. So let's say that Justice says, oh yeah, work's going good. How are you doing? You know what? Real estate it's picking up. The other day I had a first-time home buyer and I was able to get them with my lender, and they actually qualified for a community reinvestment grant, and they only have to bring $600 to the closing table and they're going to be homeowners. That's a success story. Yeah, a lot of sellers are having to offer concessions to buyers. My seller, I was actually able to get them $5,000 over list price for their home, and we sold it in less than a month. That's a success story. So you got to pick and choose what you're going to say. So let's say that I call Justice, okay? And he's like, oh, that's awesome. So now I'm going to ask him about well, tell me, what's going on with your house? I can offer to send him a market report. So over here, it says market reports. I can add a market report for him. It can be specific to his neighborhood, because we know that our MLS, it always says like, what's the subdivision? I can put in his city, which I wouldn't do just because cities, especially it may be good in your area, but like cities, you could have a very vast price change depending on where you are in a city. Zip code's a little bit better. But but you can put that in, and what it's going to do is I click add, I choose a location. Okay. So I can go ahead and put, let's do a zip code 85142. And then I'm going to send the report to him. Send it every 28 days. Couple reasons. Number one, it's a 30-day snapshot of the market in that zip code. Okay, so it's really not going to change too much in 2 weeks or a day or a week or whatever. So 28 days is a little bit better. And I'm only emailing him once a month. So the likelihood of him unsubscribing is better than if I was sending him something all the time. Ask these people questions. Would you, as a real estate agent, I can give you all kinds of data, okay, that's going to help you know the value of your home and the equity that you're gaining. Would you like a market report for your neighborhood or your zip code just to see what's going on? Oh, yeah. Okay, set them up for that. The other thing that you can do is you could set them up for a search alert. Now, what I would do for the search alert, so these are the search alerts, right? These are property alerts. Send it only for their neighborhood. Okay. So for example, my husband and I do a lot of neighborhood networking. We don't call it farming because we come from Kentucky and farming has a totally different meaning there. So we call it neighborhood networking. So everyone who is in our neighborhood, I've called them and I'm like, hey, my name's Jackie Durbin. I'm one of your neighbors. It's nice to meet you, or it's nice to speak to you. One of the things that my husband and I pride ourselves on is keeping our neighbors up to date with what's going on with the real estate market, so that way they can make the best decision financially on their real estate needs. I would love to send you once a month an alert that says everything that's for sale just in our neighborhood. Would that information be helpful to you? They're either going to say yes or no. And if they say no, that's totally fine. They're not going to unsubscribe. So I still have an opportunity to reach back out to them, like, in a couple months. But if they say yes, I go to draw on the map and I grab only where that neighborhood is. Okay. So this is just like the polygon tool on the MLS. So let's say that this person lives in Sun Groves. I know where Sun Groves is. It is this section right here that takes me back to, like, real estate school where you learned all the different sections. So all I'm doing is clicking and drawing a polygon around this neighborhood. And then I'm going to say, apply this selection. Now, I only send this out once a month. Because again, I don't want to overload people. They're already getting probably like 12 business or one of those postcards each day of like, hey, let me sell your house. Then when I go to listing types, I'm going to do single family homes. And the reason why is because there are no condos or townhouses in the neighborhood. I don't care about any of these specifics, but right here, I'm going to click just listed because I want them to know what are the things that are the newest that are on the market. When I'm finished, I go ahead and I hit set the alert, and it's going to show me everything that's available. So let me go ahead and hit set alert. There are currently no homes that are listed as just listed. And the reason why is because all of the homes that are in Sun Groves have been listed for a while. So if I go to edit, which is fine, by the way, okay? But if I click off this just listed and I update the alert, there should be 3. Did they all sell? They may have. Okay. So it would show me what is going on in this neighborhood and it would go out to them. Those are 2 ways that I can engage with unengaged leads that are inside of my kvCORE. So your task today, if you so choose, is to go into your business analytics, go up to your kvCORE activity. You can do no search alerts or no market reports, doesn't matter, but find 25 people that you want to reach out to. So let's say if I click this, and remember I told you it'll create kind of like a filter. When you click on the first person, you can call them, add whatever they have said is okay to add. And then there will be a little button at the top right that'll say next. And now it's going to take me to the next person in my database that does not have this. So once I add him, see how it says next right here? This is going to take me to the next person in my database that is also considered an unengaged lead because they don't have a market report. All right, hang on. I see something in the chat. What is a market report? I will show you.
Jackie, can you show us next again? I don't see the next button.
Oh, yes. It is up at the top. See where like the X button is? Here's the next. So I can go to the previous person,
hold on.
or I can.
I'm trying to.
That's okay. My face may be in the way.
Yeah, everybody's face is in the way. Now I'm trying to get. God dang. All right.
So on the top, I call this a client's index card. I don't know why I call it an index card. It just looks like an index card to me. So in that blue band on the left, it'll say their name, their phone number, their email, and then all the way on the right, that's where you can go to the next person who's also in that category. Let's see, you asked, what does the market report look like? Will the broker's screen show the firm's contacts?
You actually answered that question.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you.
No problem. But let me show you what the market report looks like. So I'm going to log out of mine and log into my husband's. Now, if you've played around with squeeze pages at all, you know a market report is one of the squeeze page options. It's trash. Please don't use that. The only time I use that is if I'm door knocking for like an open house that I'm doing and I'm like, 10 houses one way, 10 houses the other way, 20 houses on the other side of the street. On the flyer that I leave that gives all the information about the open house, there's a QR code that says, if you'd like a market report for your neighborhood, click here. So just know that that's the only time I use that one. These are specific market reports and they look so much nicer. So hang on. Choo-choo. All right, so, and it goes out as an email. Market reports and property searches, you have to have their email for it to be sent out. All right, so this is the report that went out to, oh, that went out to me. Well, it went out to Kim on the 29th. So it goes out once every 28 days. It's going to be personalized to them. So it's actually going to say their name on there. kvCORE does that for you. You don't have anything to do there. It's going to have all of your broker stuff that you have to have on there. This is taken a bit. Okay, here we go. So hi, and then whatever their contact is. Here's how the market is trending. So it's going to show them, hey, this is where you are. This is this snapshot. The average listing price is $460. We've seen one price reduction in the last 30 days. There are currently 3 active listings, which is down. The reason why this neighborhood, there's not a high turnover rate, okay? Like for the farming score, I think it's like a C. It's not great. We have 1 new listing in the last 30 days. 2 homes have sold. This was the average sale price. So this is what we see, right? This is the average list price, $460. And the average sale price in the last 30 days was $377. So what does that tell you about the value of the homes in the neighborhood? They're going up and I like it. And guess what? That's a huge talking point. Okay. This is the price per square foot. Again, I'm looking at these every single month because I have them sent to me. And what I do is I write down May, this was it. June, this was it. So that way I can talk about the trends when I'm sending them personal information. It's going to show you the highest sold, the ones that were recently sold. You can actually click on a few of the pictures. It's going to show the average list price. We had a little bit of a lull right there, and now we're going up. We had a big lull in the numbers of listings, and now that's going up as well. So and then right here is where they can enter in their information, and it'll tell them, hey, your house on Prospect Way. This is the front of your house on Prospect Way. This is where it is in the neighborhood. This is what it's valued at. This is the balance on your mortgage. So they can see, wow, I have almost $200,000 in equity. I have a lot in equity. Okay. Would this be someone that I would want to talk to if they open this link? Hail to the yeah. Okay. Because I know that they have a lot of equity. Now, a lot of people who purchased when rates were low, even if they already have a little bit of equity, or even if they're thinking about selling, they have reservations because their rate was so low. Okay. So those people I'm not going to, but I can now use this address, go into Monsoon and see when did they buy the house. So that way I can kind of judge like, okay, what could your rate be? Like, I don't know. Then you can also, they can see maintenance. So they can see the maintenance tip, which I'm always kind of funny. Add fertilizer to your lawn. Not in Arizona, you don't, because that's the quickest way to burn up your grass. Okay. But obviously, maybe we don't do all of these things. And then this is the market trends. So this is showing now for the entire city that this neighborhood is in, instead of just their neighborhood. So now they can compare the market for their neighborhood versus the entire city and see, okay, are we above average? Are we average? Or are we below average?
Is this for everybody's has this market report, or do we have to
Yes.
create it?
No, all you do is like, so like when I was on that index card and I said, set up a market report, and then I put in the zip code and then I say, hey, send it out every 28 days. It does it for me. And this is the report that goes out. This is why I like this one a lot better. Now, here's the thing though. Okay. This is where some people will set these up and they'll send them out, but then they kind of drop the ball. Okay. So this one went out on the 29th. I need to know who's opening these things, right? Because that's how I know who to have conversations with. So go to dashboard. Right here where it says all activity, click email events. What this is going to do is it's going to tell you who has opened an email from you recently. And it does it real time. So what I'm going to look for is the people who have opened up the market report. Now it'll say email opened, and then it might even say email opened and clicked. If they clicked something, then like if you sent them like a list of properties, that means they actually clicked on one of the properties and looked at the pictures. Okay. Or if you sent them a market report, that means they actually clicked on something. Now I have a reason to have a conversation and I have a purpose for my call. All right. This is taking forever. I need this to move faster. Come on, computer. And I apologize. I'm like halfway into my espresso and they put 6 shots of espresso in this. So I'm going to be full of energy today. Okay. So right here, this one, the email was open. This is a property search because it says property alert, property alert, property alert. Okay. Market update for Sungroves. Okay. So Brad got this email. Now he opened the email, but he didn't click anything. So I can call Brad because I know Brad lives in Sungroves. That's the only reason he would have gotten this. And I'm going to say, hey, I know that I have you set up on a market report. Do you have any questions on how the market has changed in this third quarter? That would be a great conversation starter because I have a list of what the average sale price, average list price is for each month. I just keep it on a sheet. And I have the average price per square foot. So now I have conversation starts. Let's see, this was a property alert, property. Okay, here we go. Brandon, he looked at that. So I can call him. Let's see, this is a no name. Oh, that was about a new thing that we had. Here we go. Updated market report, Morning Sun Farms. This is how we have dominated a neighborhood. We just provide value and then just call them and say, hey, have you been, I know that I have you set up for a market report. I hope that you're finding that information valuable. What questions do you have about how the market has shifted now that we're in this third quarter? Oh, well, I don't know what questions should I have? Okay. Let's talk about price per square foot and how that has changed. Let's talk about average sales price and average list price. Okay. I could list this house for $1 million. That doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to sell. Okay. So let's talk about the sale price. How many of those have gone up? If you don't mind me asking, what model do you have in the neighborhood? Because we know all the models in the neighborhood, right? Because it's our neighborhood. Like we've dominated that neighborhood. And so then I can talk about that. All right. I know that was like drinking water from a fire hydrant, so I apologize. But I hope that you've seen how you can kind of take what you have in your database and basically put it on steroids. Lots of people are like, how can I get more leads? How can I get more leads? You have leads in your database. You already have them. This is how you can get them to remember, I'm a real estate agent, and this is the agent who's going to give me all the information.
I have a question. So
Yes,
if
ma'am.
we go into business analytics and we see that our property alerts, like less people are opening them, why would that be? Because everything else is up, except they're not opening up the property alerts as much.
I hate to say it because I'm being recorded, but people go to Zillow. Zillow is built for the consumer, which means it's super easy for them to navigate. Our website is built for a real estate agent. And so it's harder for them to like, they don't know about the little more options that's on the website, right? Where they can say, okay, I have to have a pool, or I have to have a 3-car garage, or hey, I want an RV gate, or I want my lot to be at least this amount of square footage. So we just have to do that. The other thing is, let's say that there's like a really cool listing. It could be a niche property. We have found like non-HOAs. I'm originally from Kentucky. I live in Arizona. So like my friends that are into horses, I usually send them a horse property in Arizona. And I'm like, hey, could you imagine this being a horse property in Kentucky? Like I feel bad for the horses because in Kentucky, the stables are nicer than the house. Okay, that's just the way it is. Okay, we care about our horses. Or lake properties. I'm like, guys, this is what they call a lake in Arizona. Check out this lake house or whatever. So when I send them a specific property, then they're likely to click on it. And also the emails, it could be that the property search is too big and there's too many houses on there and they just get overwhelmed.
Would you suggest to put it in like the MLS, or would you continue to use kvCORE?
I never put a property search for or like set up a portal on MLS. And the reason why is because I have no idea who's looking at the properties. I only get a stupid email from them that says, hey, they opened the email. So like my husband, I'm in his right now, which we use his for transactions and mine for training. So his property views. And the last 2 hours, Pavan looked at these 3 houses. He looked at this house 3 times on his phone, this one twice, this one 3 times, which I'm kind of like, Pavan, why'd you do that? Because we're already under contract. Quit looking at houses. But I can see everyone who's looking at it. So I advise people at least once a month, get into the dashboard, click this little drop down and look at the property views. If people are not looking at properties, start sharing them with them. Okay. When you go into listings, you can go to your listings and share your listing. Well, Jackie, my listing's been on the market for 60 days. It's not moving. No one's coming to see it. I don't think it's going to sell. That's a perfect one to send because here's your call to action. Hey guys, I wanted to share my listing with you. It has been on the market for however many days, and we're struggling to get activity. My sellers want to do some upgrades, and now give them 2 choices. Do you think changing the flooring would help, or repainting all the walls to a neutral color? Give them 2 choices. People love to give their opinions. You don't believe me? Go to Facebook. Everybody likes to give their opinions, but give them 2 choices. So that way they're not like, dude, you're the freaking real estate agent. You do this. Or
So,
just say,
sorry, do you
No.
text or email?
I text them. Now, here's the other thing. kvCORE now, people have to opt in to receive text messages. You cannot send a mass text to people who you have not individually texted before. So like I would go to my listing. If you ever go to my listing and nothing is there, keep in mind you have to go over to your profile and make sure that your MLS ID is in there. That's how it knows, hey, this is this person's listing. So here's all the ones that are sold. Okay, so this one right here is active. Okay. So I'm going to take this MLS ID, copy it, go over to my smart CRM. So I can grab all the people that are in my Morning Sun Farms because that's where this listing is. And I can share this specific listing with them. So let's go to Renee. When you send this out, you need to make sure that they haven't unsubscribed. So if this is black, that means that they've either unsubscribed or there's no phone number for them. Okay, so Donna has not unsubscribed. So I'm going to go to Donna. I'm going to send her a text. I'm going to paste the MLS ID. I'm going to say also send the listing link. And then right here, I'm going to use a merge tag. So I'm going to hit shift and the bracket key so that way her name pops up. And I'm going to create a message. Check out our newest listing in Morning Sun Farms. And then I need to ask her a question. So that way I encourage an engagement, right? Because just sending people a text, there's no call to action. You have to give them a call to action. Who do you know that is looking for a home, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a den? Not a den, like an office. It's an office off of it's really cool house. In our beautiful neighborhood. Or check out the pictures and tell me what is one thing that you really think is going to help sell this property. If you could offer one suggestion to stage this house differently, what would it be? Anytime you ask someone their opinion or for them to be helpful, I always say, can you do me a favor? Like if someone walked up to you and said, can you do me a favor? How many times do you say no? Like, unless you're just having a bad day and you want to be a jerk. But for the most part, we're like, okay, what is it? What's the favor? And then we decide if we want to help out. So if we say, could you do me a favor? Check out these pictures and tell me which home you or which part of this house do you think needs to be changed so the right buyer sees it in a good light or whatever it is. And then you just hit send. When you send it to them, they're going to get the profile picture. So the first picture on MLS, they'll see your text message, and then there will be a hyperlink. When they click on it, that means they're viewing the house. And it'll show up on your dashboard. All right. Okay, I do have to go to another meeting that I'm 9 minutes late, but I enjoyed showing this to you all. I do tons of kvCORE coaching, tons of training. After these 5 days, hopefully you've learned a crap ton. But if there's more that you want to do, or if you need your website customized, let me know and I can help you out.
This was great, Jackie. Thank you.
You are
Thank you
welcome.
so
Have a
much.
wonderful day.
You too.
Bye, guys.